I thought I was really proud of our young men because Houston, like I said, is a very good basketball team. That's a very good team. They're talented. They're good players, really good players. And Coach Dickey's just such a dear, dear, dear friend of mine, and I love him. And that's a great team that we played. And they are a 41% three-point shooting team. And tonight we held them to 14%, but that was due to our energy level. Great energy. And I was so proud of Shaq and Joe's energy level was tremendous. Shaq and Joe, just their energy from the start was tremendous. I thought Chris Crawford's pace of his energy was fantastic, and that just set the tone. I thought when anyone that I put in a game had great energy. We had no slippage on anyone that played. Everyone that played contributed. Starters, guys coming off the bench, the energy was great. And when we lost to Oklahoma State earlier in the year and got our butts kicked, I had used the terminology course correction. And I felt at the time we needed to course correct our offense. Like, we spent 5 weeks breaking it down to the simplest forms that we needed to course correct on our offense. And, through my time here, we've been a very good half-court defensive team. I think last year we were 16th in the country in defensive efficiency. The year before, like 13th. The year before that, we've been a good half-court defensive team. And when we won our Old Spice in a game or two after that, we were in the top 20, top 25 defensive efficiency. Going into the American, we were the best at taking the three out of the game in the American Conference. We've had slippage defensively. And I believe we've had course correction and we play the right way offensively. That needed the most sense of urgency help in those 5 weeks, and we broke it to the simplest form. You look now, we have 58% of our made field goals coming in this game were assisted. If we made some of our threes, we'd be about 64%. Last year, we were 61%, and we were fourth in the country in assist. So we've always been a great team that's been unselfish. We've been an unselfish team here, and so we've corrected where we needed to be offensively as in terms, I believe guys know how to play the right way offensively now. That being said, we've had some slippage defensively. And so starting on this past Sunday, I did defensive boot camp. And on Sunday, after Lemoyne-Owen game, on Sunday, we had a 2-hour practice, and we didn't shoot one shot. It was all defense. For 2 straight hours, we did straight defensive boot camp for 2 hours. I gave the guys off Monday, practice Tuesday. We practiced for 2 hours. For an hour and 55 minutes, we didn't do one thing on offense. We did 5 minutes of shooting at the end of practice. For an hour and 55 minutes, we did defense and 5 minutes of shooting at the end. Wednesday, we practiced for an hour and a half, an hour and 20 minutes of straight defense. In fact, if they got a steal, I blew the whistle, wouldn't even let them go down and go for a break. And we did 10 minutes of shooting. So in those 3 days, we did a total of 15 minutes of shooting. That's all we did. And everything else was defense. Today at shoot-around, the first thing we did was defense. We did defense because that's what needed. But that being said, it was about energy, and we've got to have energy. We are a very good basketball team when we play with great energy. And you all know I've said this before. Life's about energy. The game of basketball is about energy, and when we have great energy from all of our guys, we can be very, very good.
Josh, it seemed like you made a conscious effort to get the ball down low. The entry passes were some of the best I've seen this season, and subsequently got a lot of dunks and easy baskets.
Well, we had 20 assists on 33 made field goals. Versus Lemoyne-Owen, I think we had 29 assists on 38 made field goals. UConn, we had 17 assists on 27 made field goals. I mean, I'm telling you, since the Oklahoma State game, we've done a good job of having course correction offensively. We've done a good job in that and continuing to attack playing through the post. So we've got to continue to do that. We are a better team when we play through the post. That's just the bottom line. And we continue to move the ball, and we've got guys who can finish down there. So we got to continue to play that way, and good things happen when that happens.
You talked about Shaq and Joe being your energy leaders, and they were,
and Chris, his pace
as well. But just talk about those two. They were outstanding.
Yeah.
Tonight for the most part.
Well, I just thought, and I've said this many times. Joe's an X factor. Shaq's an X factor with energy, and those guys brought it. But I thought Chris's pace at the start of the game got us going. That pace that he had. But I'm telling you, anyone I played tonight had such great pace that the energy level that they had was fantastic, and that's the key is the energy.
Tonight you had Austin struggling a little bit, and right when Pelham comes in the game, he draws a charge in like the first 30 seconds. Gets another one, before the end of the half. Plays only 16 minutes, goes 3 for 3, 7 points, 4 rebounds, two assists. Talk about him being a transfer, and just is he exceeding your expectations, meeting them?
He's exceeded my expectations with his energy. He saved us in a lot of games this year. I mean, just by his play, and he comes in and does a lot of the dirty work. He's a wonderful young man. I like to see him rebound more. That's one thing, and I'm always on him about it. But he's playing, he plays his tail off, and he makes energy plays. He's different than DJ Steffens just with athleticism and stuff, but he kind of makes some of those plays that are game-changing plays, and they're things that don't always show up in the box score.
I know you don't like to talk about it, but it seems as though you're at least making a concerted effort to find more minutes for Karan and Nick. I mean, is that the case? Are you trying to get those guys more minutes?
Well, John, I honest, we had that segment there where we started out so well, and then there was no media timeout, and I ended up, we needed to get the guys were exhausted, and I needed to make some subs. So, and to their credit, they came in and did a great job. There was no slippage when they played, and as long as they continue to play the right way, they'll be able to get minutes. And again, game by game, field by field. That's just kind of how I am, as you guys know. And but those guys, Nick and Karan gave us good minutes, and they've been practicing well.
One more follow-up. I mean, how important is it for those guys to get game experience? I know this is next season. This is all right now. But, I mean, they're going to be relied on in the next few years.
Yeah, I mean, look, if our guards play the right way like they did tonight, earlier in the year we probably would have had more games where we had larger leads, and it would have been opportunities to get those guys in different parts of, in the non-conference. And we didn't play to the level that I expected us to play at, so we didn't able to get everyone in that I wanted to get in. So, but that will come through time, and that's something that we have to look at as the head coach. Maybe in the summer, I got to obviously talk to my bosses, Ren Baker and Tom Bowen, about, do we take a foreign trip to get some game experience, because we will be young next year and very inexperienced. So those are things where do we do that to get some game experience. But those are things, that I got to talk with my bosses on. But we're trying to win this year. I mean, you know how it is. You're trying to win this year, but those guys got to be ready. I mean, Nick and Austin and whoever I put in, Dom, Damien, they'll all have to be ready.
Coach, your thoughts on Tayshaun Thomas tonight and what he brought to the table for Houston?
I've known Tayshaun for a long time. He played for the Houston Hoops, and he's a monster. And you got to give Alvin Brooks, the assistant there, a lot of credit, because he was under-recruited. And Alvin Brooks, the assistant, and James Dickey, both those guys recruited Tayshaun Thomas. And you got to give James Dickey and Alvin Brooks the credit for the eye of evaluation, or a lot of people passed on him. I mean, everybody did. He's very, very good. Very, very good. Got to give those Coach Dickey and Coach Brooks credit to be able to get him. Because he didn't play, with the Houston Hoops, he didn't play a lot. He was in and out. But those guys did a great job with the eye.
And Coach, talk about David Palam's and Shaq Goodwin's chemistry when they're on the court. Seems like when Palam comes in, those guys are a great tag team in the paint. Yeah, no, Pelham and Shaq, they play well together. They kind of feed off of each other. And I think Shaq's a guy where people just feed off of Shaq, because of his energy. The more energized Shaq is, people feed off of him.
You were great in the passing lanes. It seems like you guys were getting a lot of hands on a lot of balls. Yeah. Getting back defensively, there were still some times there where it seemed like you didn't get back.
I thought Houston gets that sucker in quick as anybody. So we still got to be better in transition defense. But again, being in the passing lanes is about having great energy. I mean, that's about energy.
Nice to get the first home conference win.
Yeah, Jeff, and you guys all know this. I mean, when I don't care if it's a road game or a home game, when you lose, for me, it eats at me internally. And, it's kind of the agony of defeat and the thrill of victory. And I'm just glad we won the game, and we needed to win at home. And look, in this conference, everyone's good, Jeff. Everybody's good. I've told the media multiple times this week that I'm as excited and fired up and geared up for this stretch run. We've got 520 minutes left of regular season basketball. And I've told our guys, you can't take a possession for granted. For you seniors, this is it. I mean, as long as there's no overtimes, 520 minutes left of regular season basketball. And that's precious. You can't take it for granted at all. And we just got to continue to tell our guys we can't have an attitude of entitlement. You don't think that game you're always going to be able to play. It's got to be an attitude of gratitude, an attitude of appreciation. If we have that, then we have great energy. It's a direct correlation.
Josh, 11 dunks tonight, and I know that excites the crowd. Your players said they get jacked. Do you allow yourself to, get excited when dunks, fire up the entire 18,000?
Yeah, I just want the baskets. So I don't care if it's a dunk or whatever. I'm gonna do your job. I'm about production. So however we got to put the ball in the basket, let's put the ball in the basket.
Can you just your take on South Florida? You beat them up pretty good.
I think.
Do not let that.
I think South Florida. We can't. We have no option. I mean, we got to play with the same, even more intensity. South Florida, Stan Heath, I mean, this is a good basketball team. They're very well coached. The guy, multiple NCAA tournaments at Arkansas, took Kent State to the Elite Eight. I mean, this guy can flat out coach. South Florida's talented. They're as big of a team in the entire league. They've got good perimeter players. I mean, if we don't have the same type of intensity, they can come in and beat you. And they're a dangerous team.
Thanks, Coach.
Okay, thank you.